progress.
Good morning, everyone. We're continuing in Mishna Berura Daf Hashavua. We're learning Siman Samach Gimel Seif Hey. We're going to try to finish Siman Samach Gimel. Im hayu yashen. If someone was sleeping, mitza'arim oisai, we pain someone, ume'irim oisai, we wake him up, ad sheyikra pasuk rishain, until he reads the first pasuk, v'hu er mamish, and he mamish awake. Mikan ve'ilach, the rest of it, ein mitza'arim oisai kadei sheyikra v'hu er mamish, we don't pain him that he should read it mamish awake, she'afal pishu kar misnam neim yatsa, even if he's dozing, he's yatsa. Hagav v'din shasoi, v'shikar ayin lekaman siman tzadik tes sef aleph. Now, what's very interesting is that Lagabi, the first pasuk, we wake someone up to make sure they're completely up. The rest of it, even dozing off, is okay. I'm in the middle of working on a sefer on Chinuch Habanim, and I was like putting the finishing touches on it. And I remember I once saw they asked Rabbi Glatstein, if you have a teenager, and the question was asked during COVID when, there was no day and night. Kids, they went to sleep very late, they woke up late, Shir started very late. And the question is waking them up for Zman Krias Shema. So they asked Rabbi Gershon, should you wake up a teen for Zman Krias Shema? So he said, Rak b'divrei noyam, only pleasantly. So he said, okay, but kid's not getting up, pleasantly. Kid's not getting up. Should you shake the kid? Should you drag the kid out of bed? He said no. He said no. He said no kfiyah. You can't use any force in chinuch. There's no kfiyah in chinuch. Okay. Sivkatan tezayin misnamnim vuadin oines acher hamavatal kavanas yatsa. Likewise, any different oines is mavatal your kavana. Your yoitze, meaning not just dozing off. If somebody has another distraction, your yoitze. Darial kapanim karakula, you said the whole thing. Avlam nishtaka b'sheina v'loy kara la yatsa. If you conked out and you didn't say the whole thing, you're not yoitze, obviously. Daharei al kapanim tzach l'kroy sekula, you have to read the whole thing. So bottom line is, let's say like this. A guy is out cold. The guy is really in a deep slumber. And the Zman Krias Shema is in 10 minutes. And he's sleeping through his alarm. Are you obligated to get a guy up for Zman Krias Shema? Are you allowed to get a guy up for Zman Krias Shema? Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says, you should wake him up to say Krias Shema to daven. Even though he's not mechuyev to right now, because he's an onus, because he's sleeping. So he said, what do you mean, why is he an onus? The answer is, let's say the guy he went to sleep, and he's not hearing his alarm. He's sleeping through his alarm. So what do you want from the guy? Not like the guy didn't set an alarm. He set an alarm. And he's just not waking up. So if he wouldn't wake up and he would miss Krias Shema and Tefillah, it wouldn't be his fault. He's an onus. Rabbi Shlomo Zalman says you should still wake him up. Why? He's not mevatel aseh, but he's going to lose out the zechus of Krias Shema and Tefillah. However, the Keren LaDavid and the Shevet HaLevi says that the kavana, in other words, what's the Shulchan Aruch talking about? Hayu yashen. The Makar Chaim says, it's when the Mechaber says you need to wake the guy up, it's talking about he's dozing. So since he's dozing, you wake him up. But a guy's out cold, you're not mechuyev to. But according to Shlomo Zalman, it's better to be mezakeh him. But the Shevet HaLevi says, is the Shulchan Aruch is talking about even a guy who's mamish sleeping. And me'ikar hadin, you have to wake him up to at least say the first pasuk of Shema. Okay, this machlokes has to be clarified more. Okay, V'dad yesh sholosh deos bein ha-poskim. Three opinions in the poskim. I think there are even more, but yesh omrim derak pasuk rishon v'adam minatar. Some say only the first pasuk is medaraisa. V'yesh omrim the chol parsha rishon minatar. Some say the whole first parsha. V'yesh omrim degam hashniyahu minatayra. And some say that the second parsha is also minatayra. I believe that's the Pri Chadash. By the way, the Pri Megadim says that even according to the Shita, that the first two parshas are da'iraisa, Baruch Shem is d'Rabbanan. Baruch Shem cannot be da'iraisa. How could it be da'iraisa? How could the Torah say you have to read these parshas? The Torah doesn't say Baruch Shem. So nobody says Baruch Shem is da'iraisa, which is very interesting. You might not be yotzei, but nobody says it's da'iraisa. That's very interesting to me. Everyone agrees the third parsha is midaraisa. Kidei lahaskir yitzias mitzrayim. V'siknu lahaskir b'zman kriyas. They're masaking it that you should say it b'zman kriyas. V'ayin lekaman misim samach zayin b'Mishna Berura v'shari tshuva sham. Okay. Sivav hakari kriyas lo yirmos b'einav. No winking. V'lo yikroitz b'sasav. No gesticulating. V'lo yirabetz b'oisav b'parsha rishayna. And don't point with your finger in the first parsha. Shu ikar kabbalas al malchus shemayim. V'mnei shenir kakari aray. It looks like you're doing the mitzvah in a haphazard way. Uchsev v'dibar tabam v'darshinan asay oisam keva. You need to make it formal, established. It says Mishna Berura yirmaz v'afilu dvar mitzvah asur limaz. You can't even be meramis for a dvar mitzvah. So what would an example of that? So the Ben Ish Chai says, even when you're saying Kriya Shema Lamita, you're not allowed to be merames. Why? Because it sounds like it's not a din in the Kiyam Asay, it's a din in Shema, which has to be V'dibarta bam Asay oisam keva. These words have to be keva. What if somebody already said Shema Bizmanoi, and now you're saying it Shaloi Bizmanoi with the brachas? Chaim Kanievsky says it's also Asur Lemrais. Certainly you're not allowed to smoke tobacco during Kriya Shema. I would say also other times you're not allowed to smoke tobacco, because suicide is prohibited at all times during the day. Okay, weiter. Now, what about, could you motion to your friend during Shema not to violate an Isser? If there's no other way, you're allowed to be merames. You can even speak, because technically you're allowed to be shayol b'shalom mibnei hayira. So what about collecting tzedakah during Kriya Shema? Ben Ish Chai says it's aser. You're allowed to collect tzedakah. By the way, are you allowed to collect tzedakah during Chazar Hashatz? Aser. Aser. Are you allowed to give tzedakah during Kriya Shema? Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, in middle of tefillah could be your pater, oisik mitzvah pater min mitzvah. But if you want to give, you could give even during Kriya Shema. You could. What about to stand up for a Talmid Chacham of Kriya Shema? The Chidah says you have to. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Zonefeld, the Chazon Ish, says even in the first pasuk of Shema you have to stand up. The Adara says during the first parsha you don't stand up. The second one you do. Sheira Levi says you're pater from standing up. Ben HaPrakam you're chayev. Okay, interesting. What about if you have to wipe your nose? I thought you might want to know that. You're not allowed to. So if you're the tissue guy, you know the tissue guy? The tissue guy is the guy, he gets up 90 times during Shacharis to get a tissue. The rest of the day he's very focused on what he has to do. But during Shacharis he's very busy with the tissues. You cannot wipe your nose during Shema. Because you can't smoke, you can't wipe your nose. But if it's a matter of kavod habriyos, without getting into details, I think you know what that means. Yeah? You're allowed to even be parsha rishayna. But while you're wiping your nose, stop saying Shema. Don't be saying Kshartam la'os al yadecha while you're wiping your nose. Stop. What about your hot? You want to fan yourself during Shema. You're not allowed to. Okay. Make sure you daven in a shul that has good air conditioning. Okay? Stam, that's a klal gadol in life in general. Okay. So, you're not allowed to be merames, even lidvar mitzvah, and you can't smoke. Tzedakah, Reb Chaim says you're probably pater, you're allowed to. The parsha Rishon v'yesh machmir gam parsha shniya, some are machmir even the second parsha. Ach lidvar mitzvah l'kol yam mutar limra parsha shniya. For dvar mitzvah, everyone says you could be merames in the second parsha. Aval lahafsik lahed yolai. But to outright be mafsik, not ba'ayin lekaman b'siman samach zayin. Siv Zayin. Haya isek b'melacha. Let's say you're in the middle of doing work. You're a car mechanic. You're fixing a transmission. V'ratz likor is Krias Shema. Yisbatem melach dat sheyikra parsha rishayna. Stop doing what you're doing until you read the first parsha. Kedei shelo yehei kakari arai. The transmission will wait till the second parsha. Says Mishna Berura at sheyikra. Mashma to become halamutar afilu b'berachos Krias Shema. It's mashma that from there and on, from the first bracha parsha on, it's mutar even beberchas Krias Shema. V'chein mavor behedi b'siman samach v'vei says b'dir masel mashikasa rakim ira ayin shava ayin lekamusim kuf tzaliyah b'tav siv katan aleph v'tzarchiyin gadol. Seems like it's not pasha that you could continue working in the rest of Shema. Let's see. There the Taz says that when you're doing a mitzvah, or when you're oisik b'tefillah, or you're saying any bracha, you can't do anything else. I mean, what the Mishna Berura is bothered by here is, how could we say that if you're in the middle of doing a job, you only have to interrupt for the first parsha? The Taz later on says you cannot do anything during any bracha whatsoever, not just the first parsha of Shema. Sif ches, ha'omnin, workers, v'chein balabais shayu oisem melacha b'rosh ilan, or balabais on the top of a tree, or broshur sabinra, on the top of a scaffolding. Kairin kriya Shema b'makaiman. They say Shema in their place, ve'enon tzrichan leired. They don't have to go down. So if let's say you're walking down the street, and you hear, echa, so realize probably a guy up there on the scaffolding, he's saying Shema, he doesn't have to come down. Sif tes, ha'kataf, afal pi Shema soy al ksefa kar kriya Shema. Someone who carries packages, even though the package is on his shoulder, he says Shema. He should not begin saying Shema when he's starting to load it on his shoulders, or not when he's taking it off his shoulders, because at that time his mind is not settled. Says Mishna Berura, even if it's heavy, it's 4 kav heavy. The lagabi tefillah asur lekaman mitzvah tzadi zayin sefhei, that by Shemona Esrei we say this is a package that will disturb your kavanah. You can't daven with it. Lagabi Krias Shema mutar. For Shema, it's mutar. For Shema, we allow it. Why? The Pri Chadash says by Krias Shema the kavanah is only ma'akiv in the first pasuk, and for one pasuk you could be mechavein with something on your shoulder. But a whole bracha, nah, that you can't. Fine. That's what we're up to. Yeah, we're going to hold it over here, and we will pick it up as a Shem on Monday with Siman Samach Daled. I wish everybody a freilichen Tu B'Shvat and a wonderful day and a good Shabbos. No, I'm not accusing anyone of smoking. I'm just pointing out that nobody should. That's just my